Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I have heard that the apostate prophet has accepted Christianity. Now, why is the reason that apostate prophet who was an atheist he accepted Christianity? The reason I feel is that Christians are very well behaved people. I'm not talking about the Islamophobes like David Wood and Sam Shamoun and those kind of people who are there just to insult other religion. But as a whole, if you see, if you go to any church, you will find people out there very gentle, and even Quran appreciates this behavior and acknowledges this the behavior that those who follow Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, they have gentleness and evangelism in their behavior. So sometimes what happens, arguments fail but behaviors win, and this is what most of the Christians do. They have very good behavior and they are very gentle in nature, and this gentleness is also acknowledged by the Quran. What should Muslims do? That we Muslims, since we are also the follower of Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, therefore we should also develop these kinds of gentleness, especially towards those people with whom we disagree. With people who we agree with, it is very easy to show gentleness and good behavior. But with the people whom we disagree, we should also show gentleness towards them, because we don't have any personal grudge against any other people. We only have differences with regards to them as far as beliefs is concerned, but we don't have any personal grudges against them. But whenever we differ from them, we attack them personally. For example, I have seen the video of Jake Metaphysician, and he's talking about the priest of the Christendom, that how they touch their children. I mean, insinuating that they are some kind of child molesters. And I agree that many priests are child molesters amongst Christians. But I would like to remind him that this is not something specific to Christianity or church. This is something which is universal. Even the Molvis and Maulana, they are also child abuser, and we have seen many of the cases where a child has been abused by Molvis and Maulana, and even in previous writings of scholars like Imam Ibn Kasir have even mentioned that this is very common. Child molestation is very common amongst the priest, the qazis. This has been mentioned by none other than Ibn Kasir. And even there's an hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the amal which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam feared the most in this ummah is the amal of Qawme Lut. So this is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which means that this amal of molesting or homosexual behavior is also present in Muslim community. This is unfortunate, but this is the truth. So we should not personally attack anyone else before looking at our own condition and our own status. So what I was telling, that we should focus more on our own behavior before we try to judge others, because some, if your arguments are good and strong, but if your behavior is not good, there's no use of your arguments, and you feel that your arguments are strong, fine, and the kind of thumbnails which you are making, you are actually following the sunnah of Jews and Christian. The way these people like the Jake Metaphysician or Adnan Rashid or Muhammad Hijab or Ali Dawa, they are giving dawas like how the Christian missionary used to give dawa. They used to insult other people's religion. How Sheikh Ahmad Didat narrated that they used to insult Islam, and Sheikh Ahmad Didat stood against them to defend Islam. His purpose was not to insult Christianity. His purpose was to defend Islam. But now we can see that the whole purpose of Dawa scene is to insult other religion, insult other people in the name of guidance, collect money, for donations, and basically their whole purpose of dawah is to convert people. The purpose of dawah should not be to convert people. Neither is the purpose of life or the purpose of Islam is to convert people to Islam. This is not the purpose. In fact, it has been made very clear in Surah Hujarat, where Allah Subhanahu wa Taala clearly mentions that do not consider a favor upon Allah that you have accepted Islam. And in the same surah, He has Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has said that uh, do that don't say that you believe, rather you should say that you have submitted, as Iman has not entered your heart. So converting anyone or anyone getting converted, it's good for them. They have a choice to convert to Islam, and they are welcome to the religion of Islam. But the purpose of Islam is not to make people convert to Islam. The purpose of Islam, or the purpose of Quran, or the purpose of messengers was there to correct people. And this is the reason Allah Subhanahu wa Taala clearly mentions in the Quran in Surah Baqarah and Surah Maida, where Allah Subhanahu wa Taala clearly says that whether someone believes, whether someone is a Jew, Christian, or Sabian, if he believes in God, in hereafter, and do good deeds, la khawfan alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. So this proves that we do not need to convert any other people. Correction is enough. And Quran even mentions in other places like Surah Al Imran that there are believers in Jews and Christians. So who are these believers? And in Surah Maida, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala has clearly said that Ahle Injil should hold towards Injil, and Ahle Taurat should hold towards Taurat, and and they were never asked explicitly to accept Islam. Yes, they were asked to accept the Prophet. They cannot reject the Prophet once they have accepted the Islam. And even the Prophet, peace be upon him, initially the dawah was not to get converted to Islam. Rather, the dawah was that you follow Injil, you follow Taurat, and let us follow Quran. And in Medina, Jews, Christians, and the Muslims were called one ummah. If you read Misake Medina, Jews, Christians, and the Muslims were called one ummah. Just imagine. So Jews and Christians were considered one ummah during the time of Prophet, peace be upon him. But what happened? These Jews and Christians at the time of Prophet, peace be upon him, they rejected him, they spied against him, they made the life of messenger and the believers under threat of mushrikeen Makkah, and because of that they were subjugated to the punishment of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala in the form of jizya. And even then, if even after that, some of them were even executed, like that of Banu Qurayza and Banu Nazir. Otherwise, Jews, Christians, and Muslims shared a very uh, cordial relationship initially when Islam was when the Quran was being revealed. And Allah has praised Jews and Christians in the Quran, especially in Surah Hadid. You can see that the Christians are called believers, that believers believe in Allah and His Messenger. So you will get twice the reward. So who are these believers who will get twice the reward? They are the believers of the Jews and the Christians. They are the believers, they are the people who are following Jesus Christ, peace be upon him. So in Surah Hadid, it says very explicitly, if you look at the context, it says that believers believe in Allah and His messengers. So you will get twice the reward. Twice the reward for what? If it is talking about the Muslim, they will get the reward just by converting it. But when a Jew and a Christian converts to Islam, they will get twice the reward. This is what the Quran is saying. So and there are believers in Jews and Christians as well. This is what Quran has testified. So Quran has categorized Jews and Christians as good Jews and Christians, which are the believers, which are very few, and bad Jews and Christians, which are called disbelievers amongst the Jews and Christians. So this is how we should look at every other religion. This is the principle which Quran has given us. But unfortunately, we have put Quran behind our back, and we follow our own tradition, our own sect, Ahl Sunnat wal Jama'ah. This is how they pronounce, or Ahl Tashayya. So we need to follow Quran as a source of our guidance. We don't need to follow the tradition of the Muslims. Many of them are right and many of the things are wrong in it. And this is the reason why many people oppose. One of the reason why which keeps people from accepting Islam, or even those Muslims to stay on Islam, is that the interpretation which is presented before them is not something which is practical, logical, or even according to Quran itself. This is the biggest problem that we are facing. Muslims are the biggest hindrance to understand the Quran the way it is. This is an unfortunate reality which we need to understand. Otherwise, you will see these kinds of cases happening with our own children, and it's happening. It has already begun.